And we are in Algebra 2, Lesson 7-12. We have 2 more lessons left, 12 and 13, and we're done with the unit. It was a long unit. We are now solving equations with the quadratic formula, just like you did when you were a little freshman in Algebra 1. Our objective today, Aaron, is to
solve any quadratic equation with the quadratic formula.
So here's how you set it up, right? And I have an Apple Pencil that...
I haven't put these in my folder.
Yeah, you should definitely do that.
You said this is easier than yesterday?
Yes, it is very much easier. I had some fun deriving where this comes from. Assuming that you have a 0 on the right, as I said right here, if you have a 0 on the right and you have a quadratic on the left, this is your magical silver bullet that works on every single quadratic. So maybe I tell you, you need to solve this by factoring. You're like, okay, and then you just solve by doing the quadratic formula. It'll still work. This works on literally all quadratics. So the formula is this. There's a way to sing this. Have you guys heard me sing it yet?
No, you don't need to.
I'm going to.
Sing it.
Ready? And you guys, you gotta follow along. It's like the Disney songs that like it jumps to the words, right? Ready? Here we go. X is equal to negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
Woo! I remember.
Beautiful. Right? If the song helps at least one of you, then I'm doing my job. So you're just applying this over and over again. Some of you might have a question. What the heck where did that come from? Mr. Sandel waved his magic hands because he's a math magician. No, it comes from completing the square. If you have a squared plus bx is equal to c, or plus c is equal to 0, again, you have to have this equal to 0. Then you complete the square. We move the c to the other side to make some room. We have to get rid of this coefficient, so we divide everything by a. Once we have everything divided by a, we need to find the term that completes the square. Half of b over a is b over 2a. We square it. B squared is b squared. 2 squared is 4. A squared is a squared. This is the number that completes the square, and we add that number to both sides. In order to add this, I need to have a 4a squared on the bottom. You'll notice that I'm missing a 4 and a squared, so I need a 4 and an a to make this a 4a squared on the bottom. So I multiply by 4a over 4a, and it turns to a negative 4ac over 4a squared from here to here, right? We're all nodding our heads. You're following along. I originally add this b squared over 4a squared, and when I add these together, I get b squared minus 4ac right in here. Then next, you're going to square root both sides to get rid of this perfect square. Again, this is coming from half of our middle term. Half of b over a is b over 2a, so that's where the b over 2a came from. When we square root, you always have a plus or minus. And when I have the square root of the bottom, it's the square root of 4 and square root of a squared. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of a squared is a. And you'll notice I now have this b squared minus 4ac all on the inside. I have a negative b over 2a because I have to get rid of this b over 2a over here on the left. And you get the quadratic formula. It's the exact same steps that we've been doing for completing the square in a general way. General by saying I have a general a, b, and c. I don't know what those values are, but it works for everything now. Essentially, this is your shortcut for completing the square. It's the quadratic formula. You can do either or. I'm going to make you guys do both. So I'll show you how easy this thing is to use. I'll give you a random equation. The only thing that you need to make sure that you do at the very beginning that might be tricky, this side needs to be what? 0. So I'm going to add a 2 to both sides. Add 2, and I get 8x squared minus 2x plus 5 is equal to 0. I'm going to set up my quadratic formula. You guys ready to sing it with me? X is equal to negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So you'll notice I have a, b, and c. What's a? Someone tell me what is a?
6b squared.
No. In terms of this equation right here,
8x squared.
a is just the 8.
I was looking at.
Okay.
What about b?
2.
b is
Negative 2.
negative 2. And what's c?
5.
C is this positive 5. So when I plug into this formula, I get negative what?
Negative 2.
So I have double negatives. That's okay. And then I do plus or minus the square root of
Negative 2.
squared minus 4.
Minus 4.
8.
8. Plus 5.
5 all over
2.
2 times 8.
There it is. So that's how you fill into the quadratic formula. You just simplify from here on out. You guys have already done that, so this should just be like a giant review. You get 2 plus, or yeah, that is the answer. And then we just got to simplify it. So you get 4 minus, oh dear God. All right, so we got Let's do 8 times 5 is 40. Times 4 is 160. There we go. That's all in a square root. The bottom here is 16. This is going to be equal to 2 plus or minus negative 156 over 16. 156. I need some help.
Or you could.
Yeah, I already memorized.
Oh, 156.
Okay, let's do factor tree. Factor tree on 156. What do we got here? I think a 4 goes in here.
I think yeah, 4, and I want to say 7.
I want to say
also would go.
39.
I don't know.
I mean, 4 and 40
Well,
is 160.
Well, not 4 and 7,
I was
but
like-
like 7 also goes in.
I think 39. Someone help me though. Does that go to 39 or does it only go to 38?
This is 7-12.
This is 7-12, yeah.
156, yeah.
Yes. All right. So both of these are perfect squares. Okay. And remember, whenever you have the square root of a negative, what happens?
It's
Odd.
Yes. You have a 2 plus or minus. There's an I that popped out. That's our negative square root. We also have a 2. So I'm going to actually say this is a 2i. And then what's left over is this root 39
Wait, why do we
all
have a
over
2?
16.
Oh, because 4.
Square 4 turned into 2. Yeah, I'll draw that in the notes just in case people get lost.
What about the 2? Shouldn't it be plus or minus the 2i39 over 8? So you can simplify.
Yes. So again, you're seeing that this 2 and this 2 and this has a 2. Everything has a 2 in it. So I'm going to divide everything by 2, and I'm going to get 1 plus or minus I root 39 all over 8. There's the final answer.
But you could have, you also could have divided by 2 at the negative 156 step, which would have gotten you with just the.
You can't divide this one by 2 though, because the 2 you can only divide by non-radicals.
Mr. Sindel,
So we didn't have a 2 to factor out yet, but now we do. Question, Charlie.
could you go up so I could write down
The quadratic formula?
yeah.
Or you could just sing it again.
Yeah.
All right, so that concludes our notes. It's going to be the same process over and over again. I do not want you to look back over and over. I want you to try to memorize the quadratic formula.
I already know it.
You already know it? Then you're good to go. That's kind of one of the big things I wanted you to get. And that concludes the notes. Fist of 5, how well can you solve using the quadratic formula? And that is including memorizing the quadratic formula, simplifying the square roots, having the I that can sometimes pop out the negative. You've seen a 4, a 5, a 4, a 4. David has a 4, and Mia has a 5. All right, nice.
Wiggly fun.
A wig.